Yes, yes, we're live. All right, so I'm back. I don't know if you're sick of seeing me, but this is Run the Julz podcast production, take two on a busy Monday night. I'm here with the premiere episode of what I decided to call the Hoop and Harm podcast show with my guest co-host and hopefully returning regularly, uh,
What?
good friend Andrew Barry coming to us live from beautiful San Francisco. Say what up to our friends, Barry.
First of all, I'm going to give a shout out to the Northeastern Huskies clinching
Woo!
their first NCAA bid in about 25 years tonight. So,
That's a big
yeah,
deal. That's like,
big night for us. We tried our best to blow it. We're up 22 with 3 minutes left, and ended up being up 9 with 2.5 minutes left, or 1.5 minutes left. So, tried our damn well best to blow it, but they kept it in there. They kept it in.
the spirit of Reggie Lewis is strong
So,
with them.
I was gonna wear this around my neck, but it doesn't quite fit. It chokes me, which people probably begging for at the end of this. But for right now, we'll leave it off.
When you popped on, I thought it was a bib of some sort. So I was confused. I was like, is that a really thick tie? I don't know what we're doing, but I was into it. So I guess I should explain Hoop and Harm. So this is going to be a show where Andrew and I talk about the NBA, specifically to the Celtics, because we both grew up in Massachusetts. Barry has since relocated, but he still has his finger firmly on the pulse of what goes on with the Green Team. And we're going to talk about a little bit of the Celtics and what's been going on with their recent resurgence, and then also hit a few of the highlights from around the association. So hopefully you won't totally hate us. But but it's
Faces
inevitable.
like these.
Yeah. How could you not? All right. So we're going to open it up and talk about just the state of the Celtics right now. So they just finished a game in Miami against the Heat, which they pulled out. They had a strong fourth quarter, it seems. I was doing an internet show prior to this, one I call "Hey Lady, You Call Him Dr. Jones." It's all about movies. Barry, I don't know, I don't know if you, that Indiana Jones reference, but so I was doing a "Hey Lady, You Call Him Dr. Jones" with my buddy from college. So I didn't get to see, but we were just talking about the highlights and what had happened. So now that leaves the Celtics at 26 and 36. They might
Somehow hanging in a playoff spot.
somehow in the pitiful, pitiful Eastern Conference. We're about like 2 games out, which is
Oh my
crazy.
God.
So I guess I'll give my overall impressions of the team, which is what we'll start in with. So going into the season, obviously I was not expecting them to, hit the playoff lottery or like become a 7 or 6 seed, which is how a lot of people felt kind of jumping out of the gate, because we had that tremendous effort in that very first game against who do we play? Oh, the Nets.
That's
We just trounced the Nets, and we just ran up and down all over them, and it was a ridiculous overreaction type of game. I knew they were going to come back down to earth, and they did. And now we've seen what they kind of are. I've liked Marcus Smart's progression so far. I've liked. I've been okay with Sullinger in this year. Now he's out, which is tough. I've been happy with the way the front office has been handling the team. I don't care if it's kind of like a carousel of guys in there right now. It's hard to get continuity, and Brad Stevens has made it clear it's hard to get continuity with when you have like upwards of, I think it's like there's been 40 players on this team so far this year or something.
that's outrageous.
Astronomical, right? So, so that's difficult, but they've done the right things. They needed to get rid of Rondo, I thought at least. They needed to get rid of Jeff Green, and some of the other guys like Marcus Thornton. We needed to flip Brandon Wright. Didn't think he was right for the team when we got him. The one person I sort of feel bad for is Brandon Bass. B. Bass
100%.
needs to be on a contender, and I feel so bad that he's not like helping Portland or something right now.
I don't. Out of all the moves that were made, I don't know how he wasn't moved.
Yeah.
Like, I really don't see how someone. I mean, maybe Danny was one too much, but I don't see how no one offered anything for him. Portland, Memphis,
Yeah.
Houston, anyone that needs a second or third big man off the bench, like, that guy's gonna get you some rebounds. He's probably gonna put some points in. Granted, he can't defend a lick, but I mean, he's gonna get some boards for you. Like, he's gonna be useful.
he's mid-range money too. Like he can't miss that mid-range jumper, especially lately. And I'm always watching it, and I'm always screaming because he's fantastic at the mid-range game, like I just said. But he's at any point in time one of the strongest motherfuckers in the paint
100%.
too. So he could just be pounding dudes and just slamming it down their throats sometimes. I mean, the height is a problem, but he's an athlete for sure. So he has a lot of value, and he's a big, big asset. I was shocked when we didn't move him, and like I said, felt a little bad because I was like, oh, Brandon could use a relocation. But you know. We're gonna have him, I guess, and we might even be in the playoffs. So who
Oh
knows?
God.
Who knows what'll happen? What's your overall impressions of the team so far this season?
So I might have an unpopular take here, and
Oh, I
I'd love
love
to hear.
popular takes. Great,
I'd love to hear your. I am. I want to use a light word. I don't want to get too heavy on a word here. Slightly concerned about Brad Stevens.
Okay.
I think that was a fine for Danny Ainge. I mean, that came out of nowhere. I think if we're going to do anything, he's here 5 years. I think we're in year 2 or 3 now. Is it 2?
1 or 2, yeah.
It's 2 or 5. So I mean, gonna be some bumps and bruises. I couldn't be any more concerned with these 20-point leads that we love to blow.
Yeah.
And you can blame it as much as you want on a young team, but a young team doesn't stop playing. I'm a little concerned that it's I don't know if it's a coach down. That's my concern is that it's a coach down type of thing. You see it in football all the time. You see teams that get big leads and then let off the gas, and that's typically a football kind of a play calling thing.
Sure.
I don't know if that translates well to what's happening with the Celtics, but I can't. I mean, being on the West Coast, I don't get to physically watch a ton of games, but I Twitter follow a ton, and I cannot tell you how many times I leave work at 5:30 this time, so 8:30 our time, or East Coast time, so they're already starting off strong. I typically get home, they're up 15, and it's like, all right, I'll make dinner and I'll check my phone after dinner, and all of a sudden they blew that 20-point lead or they blew that 15-point lead, and
It's happening
once or twice as a team, it's whatever. 3 times even, it's like, it's a long season, but once you make a habit out of it, once it's like a running joke, oh, the Caesar up 20, can't wait to see how they blow this, then we're getting to a point where it's like, okay, well, what is the cause of these? Why are we blowing these leads? And I mean, like I said, it's been like you said, it's been a carousel. Lots of different players, lots of different things, but the constant is that they jump out to big leads. They play hard and they get these big leads, and they don't quit until they get that 20-point lead, and then it's like game just flips on its head. And I mean, I think that Brad is a great coach. I think he's a good coach for the team because I think he's going to learn a long time alongside the players. I don't want to see this turn into a habit. I really don't.
Yeah. Are you one of the people that are concerned with his staying power? Do you on his behalf? I know there's a lot of
I see what you're saying.
There's been, for whatever reason, people were like, oh, he could take the Indiana job, or Roy Williams could leave. He could take the job at UNC, and there's issue with maybe him kind of throwing in the towel at the NBA and say forget this, I'll go back and be the man in college. Do you think that's a real thing, or?
No, I mean, I'm pretty sure Indiana came out this week and signed, or said Green's gonna be back for at least one more. Yeah, UNC would concern me, or if Coach K left, Duke would concern me. I mean, that would concern anybody outside of Popovich or any hot coach. It's probably gonna be if a Duke comes calling, you're not gonna hang up the phone on him. You're gonna listen. If UNC comes calling, you're gonna listen. I'm not. I don't know why. I mean, it's not like we're not the Hornets. We're not the second-rate team.
No.
I mean, he's coaching the Celtics. Danny Ainge has proven he's a pretty solid GM. I mean, you can nitpick every move you want, but I mean, he makes moves. He's aggressive. I mean, he's gonna do what he can to make the team the best it can be. Whether that's trading Paul Pierce and Kevin Garnett, whether that's moving on from Rondo, whatever he's gonna do, he's gonna do what's best for the team. And I mean, as a coach, granted, he doesn't to take Bill Parcells, he isn't shopping for the groceries, but I mean, clearly Danny is going to do what he needs to do to make the team better.
Yeah.
So I don't see that as a huge concern. I mean, if it's a power struggle thing, I don't totally think Brad Stevens has earned that power struggle. I think he's a great coach. I don't know if he's totally earned his chops as a player dev guy, as a sort of an Italian evaluator or anything like that. Now, if anything, I just see him getting a bigger role within the Celtics organization if he really shows it, become assistant player, whatever role you want to give him.
Yeah.
I think the 5-year contract was a signal that Danny told him we're going to suck for a couple of years, but we want you there in year 3, 4, and 5. you're gonna have to stick it out 1 and 2. You even try some stuff out. You want learn how to coach in the NBA type of thing. I really just don't see you going from Butler to the Celtics back to the I think if he had made maybe if he went from like a Butler to like a mid-major, like not a mid-major, like a mid-power, like a Missouri, just something in a power conference, like kind of that mid-level team, and then he hopped to the NBA. Maybe you could see like his ambition is to get like this top level NCAA coaching. But I think that he made a very quiet move from Butler to the Celtics and pretty boldly signed that 5-year deal. And I don't see him leaving.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm glad you said that because I'm not of that opinion either. I think he's got patience. I think he knows like what he's got himself into. This was always the plan. Like you said, 1 and 2 are gonna suck. 3, 4, and 5 are gonna come into something hopefully. Especially with those Brooklyn picks, which are going the exact way we want them to go.
Yes, they are. Thank you, Billy King.
Billy King, roll over in your grave, bro. Yeah, no, I'm into Brett. I like what he does. The blowing the leads is a big concern. But every time I watch them and they lose it, they lose like the last possession to lose by 2 or something. That's something that it kind of is reflective of a coach as well, and that's something that you worry about. But then at the end of the day, I'm like, well, it's another loss. Like, I'll take another loss.
But yeah, I'm not complaining, but it'd be nice. It's kind of sickening to see.
Right.
I mean, granted, they hold on to all these 20-point leads, and all of a sudden we're probably 500. We're probably looking for the 5th seed in the East. We're not hanging on to the 8th seed and hopefully snagging the lottery. In my opinion, hopefully snag the lottery. I don't really care for an 8th seed because I think Atlanta's would run right over us.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm into it too, and I also don't think he's that skittish. I think he knows what he's doing. He doesn't want to just throw in the towel and go back. Also, like I remember reading when he came to the team, he said something in some sort of interview saying like, "Well, I've got all my Butler stuff in my closet, and I can wear that stuff proudly. Like if I went to a different instead of going to the NBA, if I went to another college team, like." I don't have to wear all different stuff, and like I don't want to do that. I want to rep my Butler stuff. So I think that is like a real thing in his head that he thinks about, and it's something he wants to kind of keep sacred. His time in college is done, and he's going to make his bones now in the NBA. So yeah, I'm a little worried about. I'm with you. I'm a little worried about blowing them leads and losing tight down the stretch. Yeah, I mean, the overall pace of the game is so much quicker. You're on the road like crazy, so hopefully this is growing pains, and we'll be better for it in year 3 and 4 and 5, probably year 4 and 5.
To your point before, I'm racking my brain right now. I can't, not like college football where you can think of a ton of guys that jump from good college teams, good pro teams, and back to good college teams. I'm having a hard time coming up with a lot of good examples of that happening in basketball.
Yeah.
You see, like Larry Brown, I guess, is one, but I think that he kind of wore out his welcome in a lot of NBA teams. By the time he coached every single NBA team there fucking is, so he might as well go back to college and coach something else there.
Right.
You get like Calipari, who sucked in the NBA, went back. Patino, who sucked in the NBA, went back. And I think basketball is just a little more divisive. I don't know that. I'm sure there are examples, and I'm blanking on them. And
yeah, I can't think of one. I can't think of a clear one either. Like Bobby Knight never did it, did he?
Right.
Yeah.
Like Coach King stayed there, Roy Williams stayed there.
Mm-hmm.
You think of the best ones. Izzo never left. The really top ones. Bill Self still there. Just the ones
Jim Boeheim.
Yeah. If you feel like if you've been good, if you're good in college, you stick it out because you do. It's probably a power thing too. You get a ton of control.
Oh yeah, and you get to see such talent too. Like Calipari always says, like, why the hell would I ever leave this Kentucky program where
Seriously, I'm handpicking my talent. And they want to, like, you've complete control of basically over who comes to your team.
Right, and they're transcendent players.
Yeah, and not even like you give complete control in that, like you're the man at the end of the day. It's like no, you actually go out and find these kids to complete. There's no money, you don't have to sign them to contracts. You're not competing. You're competing with. You come to Kentucky or you go somewhere else. It's not like we'll give you 4 years, $50 million. That's all we have, or we'll do this. It's like, well, no, you have this. You walk into their house, you shake their parents' hand, and you say, hey, you come play for Kentucky, and for Calipari, you come play for Kentucky for 1 year, and you're probably going to the lottery. So, you or go to Florida and play for 4 years and whatever you want to do. But so, yeah, I think it's a different atmosphere. And I mean, going from Butler to a power school is a big difference too. I mean, maybe he doesn't want that. That's a lot of responsibility to go to Indiana. That would be. I mean, he goes to Indiana, they're looking for championships. You
Yeah, and
know,
yeah, that's true. And there's a whole different set of pressures that come with something like
yeah,
that. You've got like alumni breathing down your neck. You've got like boosters and all this sort of crap that you don't have to deal with. The NCAA is as crooked as it comes anyway. So maybe you don't want to have to even be in that world anymore. Maybe he got sick of it. Maybe he was just
yeah.
like, oh, this is exhausting. I'm just gonna go to the pros and actually try to vie for a championship. But I don't. Yeah. So I think we're okay. I think we're safe with him. For better or for worse, I think he's going to be with us for the extent of the contract and into the future. So,
So
which is
now,
good.
let me throw something back at you. Someone that's seen a lot of the games here.
Mm.
Who is on this team right now? Let's say this summer's the rebuild summer, and we get we retool pretty good. Who are we sticking with?
In terms of players,
Yeah.
which is actually that's perfect because that was the next thing I was going to bring to you. So uh, don't touch Marcus Smart. Marcus Smart. I want him to be like his ceiling to me is Kyle Lowry. And I want him to be Kyle Lowry. I don't know if we'll get there, but I think he got the same body type. The competitive edge is there, which I listened to like the BS report before when Kyle Lowry is on, and he's the type of basketball player you want. And obviously he reflects now in Toronto, but so I'd like him to kind of get there. That's the ceiling, I think. But so Smart stays. Sully, I would have said stays, but the recent Sully developments have worried me with showing up late, being out of shape still, middle of the season being out of shape, which is tough.
It's impressive, honestly. That's honestly we should trade him because we shouldn't trade him because it's impressive to be out of shape in the middle of a fucking season.
Yeah, yeah, and like if this was 6 months ago, and we're I guess more than 6 months ago now, but when we were talking Kevin Love, and we are like, do you move Sullinger for Kevin Love, whatever, blah blah blah, and I was like, yes, you move Sullinger for Kevin Love. Obviously, it's played out kind of strangely in Cleveland, but so I think. And also, James Young is somebody who I just haven't seen enough yet, and he's like still in his teens.
Yeah.
So I definitely want to keep him around. But beyond Smart and, well, I would say, I guess beyond Smart, James Young, and Isaiah Thomas, I think he's a good piece to have. You can have almost anybody else. I'm not that into KO. Olenek, I like him. He just brings the team swag way down, which bothers me. It's just, he might be a good dude. He just is as goofy as the day is long. But we're like, it's like right now we're developing a really good bench because this team will never be a championship contender the way it's constructed. That's why we need at least 2 superstars to come in, whether it's through the draft or we just like. Run the table on some poor team and just steal their guy out from under them. But I don't know. I would really only say like James Young because he's too much of an upside project that we haven't been exposed to enough yet. Marcus Smart and Isaiah Thomas I would hold on to just because his contract is so friendly and I think he's a dominant 6-man on a championship team. So I don't know. What do you think? What would you say?
So from my it's a question that I don't know if I want to hear your answer because I don't know if I have a Isaiah Thomas. I need to stick him. I want to see him through. I think he is. I saw something. He is per 36. He's over 20 since he's been to the Celtics. I think he's 20-something per game per 36 since he's been here. So I mean, guy can score.
Yeah, I'll give you this. Isaiah Thomas through 9 games up until this game that just finished a few minutes ago. Most points with 189. The next is KG with 187. The next is Ray Allen with 184. And then Bailey Howell with 183. This might be one of those meaningless stats, but through 9 games, he scored the most points of any Celtic.
That's pretty good. So I'm hanging on to him. Anything else? Have your pick if we're gonna get a superstar.
Yeah. What do you think about?
Smart, Marcus Smart. I'm not trading for. I'm not trading to Miami for Dragic, but I mean, if we're talking, I don't know, if we're talking Sacramento's finally give up on Boogie Cousins and it takes Marcus Smart, then Marcus Smart is yours, and you can have Olenek and you can have Solomon. You can have pretty much whoever you want outside of Isaiah Thomas, who I don't think they would trade for to get back, but.
No.
You know what I mean? If we're talking superstar, if we're talking Boogie, if we're talking you know, honestly, that might actually be the only name I would trade Marcus Smart for.
Boogie. Are you in the Boogie fan club?
Oh my God,
Yeah.
that guy
Okay,
that
it's you
guy on
and
a
me.
team
That's
that
what
can
it is.
win.
Yeah. I love DeMarcus Cousins. Like, it's an annual thing. I think I tweeted this out like a few weeks back when we were up against the trade deadline, and it was being floated around again. I think it's an annual thing where I just like blatantly opine my love for Boogie Cousins because I don't care if he's just a turnstile on defense or if he's got an attitude problem. That guy, on any given night, he can just dominate anybody in the league, which is nuts. And he's got such a mean streak, and he's one of those guys who remembers everybody who got drafted before him, and he hates it. There's not enough of those guys in the NBA. There's plenty of those guys in the NFL, but there's not enough of those guys in the new NBA, which we could talk about another time even, but the state of the NBA in terms of the AAU culture and the let's all play together bullshit that I hate. But Boogie Cousins, I've got a huge Boogie Cousins in my pants.
Yeah,
It's one of
I
the,
I got a pretty constant one.
yeah.
So being fairly close to Sacramento, I do catch some of the stuff that comes out of. I think the attitude problem's unfortunate. It's stuck with him. He doesn't have it anymore at all. He said he's been talk about a turnstile on defense. How about a turnstile upon the fucking coach?
Coaching, yeah.
I mean, that dude hasn't had anything good yet. And I mean, the Mike Malone shit was lunacy.
Lunacy.
And then the George Karl stuff is even worse. And I mean, Boogie said nothing wrong. I mean, all he said, I think the worst thing he said was, "I just want a goddamn head coach."
Yeah.
How can you blame the dude? I mean, no, he is an absolute baller. I would, if like I said, they come calling, they said they want Marcus Smart and one or two of our Brooklyn picks, I'm giving up on Marcus Smart, and I'll say, Isaiah, you take the reins at point, and we're gonna roll tide with him, Boogie.
Yeah. Do they get along, Isaiah and Boogie?
They fucking better. You want to win some games? You better get along. I don't know. Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know. I mean, that Isaiah was on there. Was it last year, a couple years? So he probably went through Boogie's immature days, but I think he's grown up a lot, and I think he's gotten in shape, and he's stayed in shape.
Yeah.
And I mean, to go through that many head coaches that young and still just rock it every time he's on the damn court is just outrageous. I mean, you put size and strength and skill, you probably put him and Marc Gasol into a category that honestly in the NBA right now there's not a ton of that sort of play.
Center position is such a well. First of all, it's a huge gaping hole in our team. But his center position is like they're trending towards like, oh, it's not as important anymore. Everybody's running small ball and up and down, up and down, up and down. But I still think it's like having a good defense in the Super Bowl. You need a center to anchor the team when you get down to the finals and things like that. And Boogie's championship level, he had a great summer with USA basketball that he really benefited from. Yeah, I'm with you. I'm buying the Boogie stock through the roof. So hopefully, like, maybe George Karl will be the last straw, and he'll go to Vivek and be like, just fucking trade me, dude.
Yeah,
like, I'm
seriously.
sick of this. Yeah. But,
one name I saw this weekend. See, I'm not the biggest Bill Simmons fan personally anymore. I think he's sold out, but that's a whole different discussion for a whole. We can talk for 3 hours on that if you want.
mm-hmm.
Bill Simmons is driving the Kevin Love to Boston that bus again, because I don't think he re-upped when he got to Cleveland, and I don't think he's happy with what's gone down there.
Yeah, I'm with you. I haven't heard that from Simmons, but I'm not going to start that bus up again because I think it's inevitable that he goes to LA, and I think it's really going to be Colby, Kevin, and Rondo. I think that's next year. Because obviously the Rondo stuff we can get into, but
That shit has gone. That's gone off the rails too.
Yeah, they meet at IHOP every other weekend, so
oh my god,
and discuss master plans. But yeah, the Kevin Love stuff. I am legitimately worried he's one of those guys who's only good and transcendent when he's on a shitty team.
Yeah,
and you can't have that. But who knows? Maybe he'll even stay in Cleveland because now they've made the rebound, and whatever they do in the playoffs will be a big indicator of what he decides. But
I just don't think he's happy.
Yeah, I don't think he is either.
I don't think he likes playing with LeBron.
Yeah, and Kyrie too. I mean, like those are two big personalities on
Man,
that.
we might look back and say that was such a mistake for the Cavs to trade. I mean, Bennett sucks. Bennett was a you can throw Bennett out with the you can throw him and leave him outside, but I mean Wiggins, my
Wiggins.
God, is he a stud?
Yeah. Oh my God. And my favorite move of the trade deadline was KG going back to the Wolves because just oh my God, I wish I was there just listening to Kevin Garnett just like this and Andrew Wiggins and just
Yeah,
like listen, motherfucker, you're just gonna get in these
this is
drills, you're gonna get in their
right
heads and
now.
just slam it down. You're the most athletic kid on the court. You're the greatest. You're the next great. I can just see him like teaching Andrew Wiggins how to be a killer on the court, and Andrew Wiggins is already well on his way.
Yeah,
Like it kind of sucks that Jabari Parker isn't playing right now, but
I
even if he
know.
was, dude, I don't know if he'd be outplaying Wiggins, because in the second half especially, he's just been, you know,
Yeah,
in another stratosphere. So I was so stoked to see KG go back to the Wolves, just for that alone. But yeah, that could be. We could look back on that trade and be like, big mistake for the Cavs. They should have
that was
had.
a huge mistake.
But whew,
I
yeah,
mean, I mean, they're trending the right way right now. The Cavs are in terms of they seem to figure it out. LeBron's playing like LeBron, but I mean, people want to ignore that. There's a possibility he leaves. Was it next year? Right, he's going to opt out for next year or even, this year. I don't remember which one it was, but I mean, there's a possibility he if he wins a championship, if he doesn't, there's a possibility he pieces too.
yeah, yeah,
I mean, you can't. I mean, if he wants to go play somewhere else, if he wants to go play with one of his boys, who knows what LeBron's going to do? I mean, he's made some crazy decisions in the past. I don't see why he wouldn't make a crazy decision again.
yeah.
Especially if Kevin Love leaves, and I don't think Kyrie's as easy to get along with as everyone wants to make him seem. Seems like he's kind of a hothead himself.
Yeah.
I mean, LeBron is the GM of that team, and he screwed up. It seems like he kind of maybe screwed up that Wiggins trade, but I
Pretty
mean,
much, right?
I
Yeah.
mean, Wiggins could have been the Pippen to his Jordan if you really wanted him to, if you wanted to develop it, and now he doesn't have that, and they're not going to have, that's two first-round picks that get traded away, and then all of a sudden you're going to have a pick 28 and 27 the next 2 years. That's not going to really a good chance to develop anything there.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if that goes down quickly too. I don't think LeBron's dumb enough to go play in the Western Conference. If he's smart, he
Right.
stays in the East and just dominates every year. But I mean,
I
what if he
don't
wants
want
to go to
any.
play in New York for a year or two? You really can't discount that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's the real thing too. Like I heard on some sort of, it was either a pod or an article or something that a lot of speculation when the decision went down. When the decision went down for LeBron and simultaneously also for Bosh and Wade. Prior to that, in the 2008 USA Hoops year, like Carmelo was supposed to be part of it too,
Mhm.
and so maybe it could be like the reckoning where LeBron just can't get it done in Cleveland and just says forget it, I'm gonna go play with Phil and Carmelo in Manhattan, and then have that be the bane of my existence.
Yeah.
But yeah, who knows? Everything is so up for grabs. That's a part of why I love basketball and the NBA so much, which you could probably attest to as well, because everything can change at a moment's notice, and like the power shifts so dramatically from one team to another or back towards. It's great, but I'm actually pretty happy that Minnesota got Wiggins because I think that would have really hurt Andrew Wiggins' development to be with LeBron. He wouldn't be doing what he's doing right now,
Yeah.
definitely. And I like the Wolves. I think they're going to be a quiet little strong team for the next 3 years. I don't know if they'll have the playoffs in 3 years, but they'll be slowly making strides towards it. I
Yeah.
think they could be like a Phoenix Suns, but who knows? So for our team in the playoffs, I think we're both of the opinion that we don't want to be in the playoffs.
I'd rather not.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I'm of the same impression. Like, I'm kind of split, but when a gun in my head, I don't want to be in the playoffs. There are benefits from. I think it'll just help Brad's peace of mind to be in competitive basketball games, and it'll teach some of the young kids how to get up for big important games like that, which is good. But I think it hurts the team down the road because people want to say, is there really a difference between number 10 and number 15 in the draft? But I'm willing to bet there's always a difference, especially in basketball, where it's hard to get your hands on a transcendent superstar talent. And the most likely scenario for our team, at least, is to do that through the draft. So I want that pick as low as possible.
Yeah.
So it can either be packaged and moved, or moved up the board to go get somebody. But yeah, I don't really want much to do with the playoffs. We're just going to get bounced by a very balanced Atlanta team or something like that. So
I mean, the thing you got to look at is people want to say, losing breeds losing. I don't think that's true, personally. Because I don't know what if you say winning breeds more winning. All right, great. Let's sneak in and be the 8th seed and get swept by the Hawks, or let's even go on a run and be the 7th seed and get swept by the Cavs. Is that even worth the embarrassment of getting absolute asses handed to them? It could be a reality check, but it could also just be complete. I don't think that's if the difference is going to the playoffs and beat the 7th seed and getting our asses handed to us versus missing out on the playoffs by 1 game, being competitive, but still not getting playoffs and still having a chance at that lottery. They'll play some big games at some point. I'm okay with missing out. Now, if you want to say we're going to make a huge run and get to the 6th seed and maybe we'll have a better chance against someone that's not those top 2, whoever that 3rd seed ends up being, whether it's Toronto or whoever it ends up being, different story-ish, because I think they'd have at least a chance to make a competitive series out of it, and I think that would be okay. I think that, if we're talking we're going to get 5 games out of someone, or hard
Chicago.
5 or a good 6, or Chicago. If we're talking a team that we can make a run with, make some noise versus, at least give some confidence into we're almost as good as these guys, that's fine. But I don't see a run at the 6th seed happening, and I don't see the value in getting our asses kicked by one of those 2 teams.
Right, yeah, I don't see it either. I think it's I think we're probably destined for the lottery this year. I would hope so. We're making progress. This is the step. This year has been the step in the right direction. We're still slowly climbing, but all we need is for us to climb and for the Nets to just descend. Because God, is that trade looked better by the day with that team just imploding all the time, and I feel like they're not even playing games. I don't hear about them ever. And I live on in the East Coast, and I don't hear about them ever. I can imagine how much you hear about them being on the left coast, but the Nets are going exactly the way we want them, down the toilet. So. And
the best thing is they're not getting any better because we have their assets to get better.
What a detrimental trade that was, but yeah, we'll probably do. We can do a whole nother one, maybe towards the summer about draft picks and
definitely.
What do we have, 9 first rounders now?
I think we have 9 in the next 4 years.
Yeah, just an irresponsible amount of picks.
Yeah, just too many.
Yeah, so that's gonna be interesting. But thankfully we've got one of the better GMs in the game to play with him. So that's gonna be awesome and important. So no playoffs. We'd rather that not be a thing. All right, maybe we'll just go a little broader. The MVP race. So I checked it earlier today. Right now, there's 4 names that are kind of the main group here. LeBron is a plus 800, so he's coming in at the lowest right now, which is kind of surprising. Jay Harden is a plus 250, and then whoever that is embodying Russell Westbrook is tied with Stephen Curry for a plus 110 right now in the MVP race. So, from your estimation, who feels like the MVP of the league?
So, I've been keeping tight track of this one, and how is it possible? I regardless of kind of what, not regardless, but kind of contrary to what you just read off, it seems like LeBron is the forgotten one in this race. It seems like all you hear about. It seems like all you hear about is Harden and Westbrook and Steph Curry. If you want to just go by buzz, I think Steph Curry is the MVP, and I think it's followed by Westbrook and Harden. If you want to go impact to the team, I mean, if you want to go impact to the team, it's got to be Westbrook. You know, if you want to go, if the Thunder still get to the playoffs and get an 8 or a 7 seed, I just if Russ keeps this up, let's keep that. If Russ keeps, I mean, he's not going to keep up triple double for another month and then 2 months. I don't think that's possible. But if he keeps up, I mean, if he goes 27-8 or 28-8 for the next month, you know, if the month of March is similar to the month of February, how would you not? Like, who else are you voting for?
Yeah, your hands are tied at that point.
Like I mean, Steph Curry's been unbelievable, and that team's great. But they're gonna start, not coasting, but I mean, they got this pretty well. They got that top seed pretty well locked up. It would take, for them to just completely stop playing. I think is the only way they lose that top seed at this point. I think they can win big games. They'll get up for big games. They'll be fine. And I mean, he's been great. He's best player on the best team. That's typically what you look for, right? You look
Steph,
they kind of do that thing. Harden, I think, is absolutely fantastic. He's a great player. I mean, I just personally don't think the Rockets can win championships. So, I mean, you want to give the MVP to him, that's fine. I don't think that him makes a difference between the Rockets winning and losing a championship because I don't think they win one with him. So, that to me is that I think Thunder can still win a championship. I personally think that team is still built to win a championship. So if Russ is the best player, this is just me. If I was MVP, this is how I would think of it. I mean, Harden's fantastic. He's been the best player in that team. He's been the best player in the league, probably for consistency-wise. Probably been the best player in the league this year. But I just don't think you take Harden off that team. It's not a good team. You keep Harden on that team. They're a great team, but they're not a championship team. They're not going to win the championship. So what does it matter? What is he valuable for?
Right.
So now you're down to LeBron, Steph, and Russ. Like I said, if Russ keeps us up and if he wants to just go bonkers for another month, 2 months, I have a hard time voting for anyone else. By default, I think it's Steph because people are sick of voting for LeBron. But I mean, LeBron's easily the best player in the league. I mean, he's just far and away the most talented. Regardless if it's a down year, he's still just the most you just watch him play and you immediately know that he's the best player on the court. He's the best player that should be on the court. He's the best player on any court in the whole world.
Yeah.
I mean, and they're going to continue their streak. And if they catch the Hawks and they grab that 1 seed, which I don't see totally happening, I think they dug themselves a little too deep of a hole, and I think Atlanta's too consistent to blow that. But I mean, if you see them catch the Hawks and obviously can get that 1 seed, then I can see the strong case for LeBron.
Yeah. I agree. The way I kind of broke the floor down was I was with you. Harden is the best player on a bad team, which hurts his chances. And on the other side of the coin, Steph is the best player on the best team. LeBron is the best player in the league. But it's an MVP race, so most valuable player versus best player. It's tough to I don't even know if the voters who vote for this thing, kind of distinguish between the two. So is the system flawed from the jump? Who knows? But and then Russ is just kind of like he's doing the Steph Curry thing from last year. Like, holy fuck! Is anybody turn on the TV? Is anybody seeing like what's going on here? So he's got a lot of that crazy momentum right now. If Russ was doing this, now Westbrook has missed 15 games. So if that didn't happen and he got off to this, now he's hitting the apex of his time in the league this season. So maybe if he didn't miss 15 games, this would have come a month ago, and then it'd be like we're not even having this discussion. It's Russ and then Steph and LeBron maybe. So I don't know. It's a very interesting. I don't think we've had a year like this in a while where there's 4 dudes, and we're not even talking about Anthony Davis, which is nuts.
Yeah, but, I mean, another guy that great. He's had a great year. I think he was a trendy pick in the offseason or before the season for MVP because I think a lot of people actually saw this coming. I didn't personally. I heard his name floated a lot as sort of like an underdog type of sleeper MVP pick, but I see him in the similar light as Harden. I mean, you kind of want the MVP to be the best player on the best team, but if it's not, you kind of look at it as, all right, without him, where are they going to be? And I mean, Pelicans wouldn't be a playoff team, but they're still not a championship team with him, so I have a hard time with that kind of criteria in mind. It's very closed-minded, I'm sure, but with that sort of criteria in mind, if you take him off that team, where are they? But with him on that, where are they? I mean, I think they have to be a championship contender. That's why those top bits, why I think at full steam, like I said, Thunder are there. Pelicans obviously aren't there.
Yeah.
So great season. I think that he should be rewarded with some picks and probably an All NBA. I mean, I think that it's sad because I feel like the All NBA has lost value. Like being
Yeah.
first team All NBA, I think has lost value, but I still think that's a huge honor, and I think that Anthony Davis should definitely be represented on that team.
All NBA definitely to me is yeah. I'm in the same boat. I think it's an important distinction that you can have in your career. Also more important than All Star.
Definitely.
Who gives a
Yeah.
flying fuck about All Star? Especially when it's so ridiculous nowadays. But um, yeah, I think he should be rewarded. He started like the team was started off like real promising in the beginning, and it's cooled off. So you can't really even talk about him. Um, yeah, I mean these four dudes, they're making it hard to figure out who to vote for, which is good for us because it's just quality basketball.
I mean, it's
But
crazy because the best team in the league, in my opinion, the Hawks. I think they're the best team in the league. I wouldn't mess with the Hawks in the playoffs. I think that they had their little lull after the All-Star break, but I think that was because they realized how damn good they were, and they just all kind of cooled off. And then they picked it back up. You're gonna be okay. Who is even gonna get? I mean, is Horford gonna get like a fifth place vote? Like, who's gonna be the highest finisher on the Hawks for MVP? That's what I mean. Like, I probably Horford would probably get like a sixth place vote. He'll probably finish sixth, maybe fifth in the MVP voting, but
right.
I doubt you're gonna put him above Anthony Davis. I mean, it's tremendous what they've done, honestly.
Yeah. Which kind of leads me to, I guess, one of the last things here. So, who do you think is going to come out of the East and West? If you had to kind of put money, you haven't put money on it, have you yet?
Not yet, not yet, not yet. All right, so let's go East. There's two realistic people. There's two realistic contenders, and obviously that's the Cavs and the Hawks. I don't see. We'll get to the West as a longer conversation, so let's work for the East for a second. I don't see any of the bottom feeders in the East taking a run at either of those teams, like we just talked about. I don't see the whoever's there, the Bucks, whoever ends up being that seventh. The Bucks might be higher than that. The Celtics, the Hornets, whoever ends up being that seventh.
Miami, yeah.
Yeah, Miami. I really don't see them taking a run at either of those top two teams. I think the best case scenario for any of those three teams we just mentioned is getting the Hawks or the Cavs to 5 games. I don't even think there's a sixth game in there.
Yeah.
Then you look at like the 3 and 4. You look at like Toronto, who, they're fine.
Yeah.
They're not going to do anything. I think their best case is pushing one of those two teams to 6 games. I mean, I just don't see the talent there to get them to a 7th game to really get them sweating all that much. Maybe they'll give them a game or two. Maybe they'll blow him. Maybe Toronto blows one of them out, 1 game, and they're like, oh, that could happen, and then it just comes back down to earth where it's the Hawks and the Cavs. Do you see anyone in the East challenging the two of them?
I don't. I used to think Chicago, which I'm sure you used to think as well. But they've just had too many weird ups and downs. Like Noah's been kind of off and on the court. Obviously, the horrible luck that is Derrick Rose is tragic. And then also Washington. Washington's size was a big thing for me. I thought they had great toughness. The addition of Paul, obviously I'm going to be biased towards the addition of Paul Pierce to that team because it gives them a real sort of championship identity.
Yeah. Washington's one I forget about. It's one I always sort of it's in the back of my mind, but I do forget about them. I could see I could see Washington pushing Atlanta a little further. I think that LeBron and the Cavs would steamroll them. Just the speed. I don't think that. I mean, you put Paul and LeBron, and it'll be fine. I think Paul isn't Paul from 5 years ago that can cover LeBron well, and I mean, so I could see Atlanta getting pushed to a pretty good brink by the Wizards.
Yeah.
Chicago, like you said, Derrick Rose is going to come back, and he's not going to be Derrick Rose. You can talk all he wants. I mean, that's too many knee surgeries to come back and just go ahead and be the explosive player they need him to be.
Yeah.
He can't just come back and be pedestrian Derrick Rose. They need him to be the best player on the court, Derrick Rose, which it isn't gonna happen. It's not like it might not happen. It's not like it could happen. It's not gonna happen. There's no way that guy comes back this year. Next year we'll talk. Maybe it's a great offseason, whatever. There's no way that guy's gonna come back this year and want to do all the things he can do on the court, let alone be able to do all the things he can do on the court.
True, and that's the point. That's the key right there. Wanting to do all the same things because now he has to evolve his game. He can't be doing this stuff, and it's really sad because in 2000. What did he win in 2011 or something? Or the MVP? I can't remember exactly which it was. But when he was at the apex and winning the MVP, he and Russell Westbrook were supposed to be the same, like the exact explosive new point guard prototype, athletic through the damn roof. And now to see Russ going coast to coast and just slamming it through somebody's head.
That 6-second fine was ridiculous.
Yeah, and then he does it too. And Russell's quickly become one of my favorites, obviously, but he doesn't. And then he just like has this look in his eye, like, all right, so like, can I go like run a marathon now? Like he doesn't get tired. Like, who is this guy? It doesn't make any sense. But like that's what D Rose is supposed to be, which sucks that it's just not going to be that way. And like you said, the best point about D Rose is he's not going to want to be that guy. He cannot just explode and change direction midair and just fall, so dramatically on the ground, not caring about it, what happens with his body. He has to change, which is tough, and that's tough on Chicago's chances.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. It's tough. Like, I guess my gut reaction is that the Cavaliers will find their way through.
Yeah, I agree.
But I think, yeah, like Toronto's fine. I would have before the season said Toronto maybe has something special going on, but unless they turn it on, and they've just kind of like, scuttled through the season. It feels like Washington I had hopes for, but they've been hitting a real wall lately. Unless they dig deep and turn it on.
Yeah.
But I think it's the Cavaliers. Just because I really like the Hawks. I think that'll be a great series to watch, a team versus talent. But I'm a little worried that in our league, a lot of the time, talent comes out on top, which is tough. But
I think the one thing there's 2 points here that I want to make. One is that I just have a harder time seeing the Cavs lose versus I think there are more teams that could realistically beat the Hawks than realistically beat the Cavs. I think the Hawks are the only team that could beat the Cavs, but I don't think the same is true vice versa. I think that there are other teams that could probably, like I said, Washington I forgot about, that could probably beat the Hawks. I mean, I don't think that Chicago would beat them, but I can just I don't think it'll happen at all. I think it's a very slim possibility, but I think it's less of a possibility that happens to the Cavs, that they have an off series and lose a game. I just think LeBron is too good for. I think pre Miami LeBron Cavs could lose a shitty series because LeBron just isn't into it. I think that LeBron has matured. He's just a smarter basketball player. He knows what he needs to do. He just plays basketball now, which I think is where he needed to get to.
Yeah.
The second point is, I think the coaching between the Cavs and the Hawks is going to be underrated. I think Coach Bud he cut from a real solid block.
Yeah.
I mean, that is if you're going to come somewhere, that's where you want to come from. And I mean, I don't think Dave Blatt is anything special like everyone thought he wasn't going to be. I don't think that's surprising how shitty he's been. So I mean, that's sort of an undervalued thing. Do the Hawks have enough for 7 games to beat? Can the Hawks beat the Cavs 4 times out of 7 games? Is kind of how you gotta think of it. Maybe, I don't know. Is a team better to beat LeBron? I mean, the Spurs beat him, but the Spurs also have superstars. I mean, They have their team atmosphere, but you also have Duncan, you have Ginobili, you have Parker. Hawks have Horford. Horford is fantastic, and I think he'd do real good damage on Kevin Love in the post in that series. I think he would dominate Kevin Love. Offensively and defensively, I think Horford would tie him up.
Yeah.
And then a lot of the other matchups across the board kind of cancel. You're gonna have to get 112% effort out of Millsap for 7 games to contain LeBron. You're gonna get Teague have to hit all his shots. I mean, there's just a lot of things that I think more things have to happen for the Hawks to beat the Cavs and the Cavs to beat the Hawks. Like more things that you wouldn't expect. But like I said, to contradict myself 3 times here, I think the coaching is a big difference, and I think if anyone in the East can game plan out LeBron, it'd be Coach Bud right now.
Yeah, because it is Coach LeBron versus Coach Bud.
Totally.
In that matchup, which can't be understated too, because when you get down to the nitty gritty, and it's the devil's in the details for who's going to pull out of these series. Those are real factors, so that's a good point. Yeah, the coaching thing is a real big deal. So we're kind of on the same page about the East. And then also, what do we do with the West? Go ahead.
Who takes the shot for Atlanta? Like you're down, it's you're up you're down a point versus the Cavs. It's 4 seconds left to get the ball midcourt. I mean, is Teague taking the shot? Are you hoping you can get it to like are you letting Schroeder shoot for you? Like what are you doing? Like I don't. Teague's
German
Teague's a bad man, but I don't know if that's him.
My gut instinct was Teague, but I don't feel that comfortable with that.
Yeah.
It's not just a.
Like, yeah, you say it, but you're like, I guess Jeff Teague. It's sort of like, all right, I guess, yeah, let him shoot or something. But like, yeah, I think I mean, Korver's a killer, but I don't think that you got to run a play and you got to get the good scenario for Korver. I don't think you want Korver with the ball in his hands trying to dribble and make his own shot. I mean, that's the concern I have.
Right. You're not asking
versus Cleveland. You know who's getting the damn ball and you know what he's going to do with it, and we're going to see what happens.
Yeah. Unless Kyrie has something to say about it. Like, that would be interesting. Like, what if it gets down the stretch and Kyrie's like, get out of here,
Just
dude.
doesn't pass him the ball.
Yeah. He goes he goes full Dion Waiters and just like says, "Forget it, dude. This is my team. I had it before you," or the current team, not the franchise. But like you said, Korver isn't going to create his own shot. He's going to need to be, Jeff Teague's going to need to run a Ray Allen for him or something to get that to go. That's a tough thing too. Like when it comes down to it, who's gonna do the ISO play to bury it home for them? It's gonna be tough. I don't know. Good balanced team, but
I really don't. Yeah, that's. But I mean, you have the coach. You can see the play for Korver, but are you banking? It's just where you're gonna get where your money's made, and your money's made in Cleveland on LeBron doing his thing.
Yeah.
Whereas in Atlanta, you just hope you don't have to. You really hope you're not in that scenario. So, yeah.
Yeah. I think if Atlanta had a Paul George, we'd say they're coming out of the East and they're the favorites. But that guy just doesn't exist for them just yet. So tough. So what about the Wild Wild West? That's always so crazy.
This is fun because I think that there's. Let me think it through. I think that obviously you have the Warriors. I truly think the Thunder, if they make it in and they're in a good place, I truly think the Thunder are a title contender.
Memphis. Ooh, you're not that warm on Memphis, huh?
Memphis can beat teams up, and that is how they win. And here's my big. This is where I think it all can go crazy. Is if the Thunder sneak in as an 8 and they're playing the Warriors, which I think is fairly likely. I think that if it happens, that seems like that might be what happens. And regardless of, so if I think that, so let me try to phrase this. So if we're end up 8-1 and it's Thunder Warriors.
Mm-hmm.
I think if that series is going 6-7 games, I think it's probably going 7. I just think the Thunder have been there now too many times to get swept. So are you looking at a 7-game series where the Warriors have to literally give their entire all in a series that realistically, if we're not talking about Westbrook missing 15 games and Durant missing 30 games, realistically Warriors Thunder is probably your Western Conference Finals. So we're talking about the Western Conference Finals in the first round, and we're talking about a ton of energy that the Warriors are going to have to expend to maybe win that series. And now all of a sudden you go 7 games, you go 7 rounds versus the Thunder, and now you're looking at like a Memphis team or a San Antonio team or someone that is just going to mentally beat you up and also physically kick the shit out of you. That's when the Warriors are in trouble.
Yeah.
So if I'm the Warriors, I am either tanking my season to get the 2nd seed. Let's just go on a string of losses and let's get away from the Thunder as much as we can, or let's just pray that the Thunder just can't get there, because that's not a nightmare for the Warriors. That is an absolute worst case scenario. That is a recurring nightmare. That is buried. That's throw dirt on them because they're not winning the championship if they face Thunder in the first round. I'll say it right there. They're not. They may beat the Thunder and they may get there. That's just too much they're gonna have to expend to beat the Thunder in the first round.
Yeah, that's a huge energy expense to undertake in the first round. And if that happens, that will be bonkers that we're watching that series in the first.
I can't wait for that to happen. I'm cheering for it as an NBA fan. I want to see that shit.
Yeah. I beat the drum for the Warriors, and I have been for a long time. They're like my second favorite team. And I just saw them play the Celtics in Boston, by the way,
Nice.
which is phenomenal. yeah, if it comes down to we get to and we get to watch Steph and Russ go at it, like, oh my
Seriously.
God, like you can't script better theater. But yeah, it's really like, all right. So I'll give it to you how it is right now. I was taking bits of notes. So right now the standings are at the Warriors.
I'm just looking at this myself. Yeah.
Yeah, the Warriors, the Grizz, Houston at 3, Portland at 4, Clippers at 5, Dallas at 6, San Antonio Spurs at 7, and OKC at 8. Pelicans and the Phoenix Suns are trying to bite at the heels, but I don't think that's going to happen. I think this is kind of locked in. I could see Dallas going further south,
Yep.
and OKC especially climbing, even the Spurs climbing. Um, but I'm a little surprised the Clippers are still holding pat at 5. But um,
So
I
I'm looking at this list of 8 here. I think we're both in agreement that there's no one outside of this list of 8 that has a chance. I don't think the Pelicans have a chance. I don't think I think that if it's going to be a winner, it's going to come from this 8, whether this is the 8 that ends up there or not. Immediately, I'm going to say no to Dallas. There's no way they win a championship. There's no way they make it through this.
right.
I'm going to say no way to the Clippers. I just don't think they're built the correct way to win a championship. Houston is the team I just don't think can win,
Yeah.
personally. I think that they're a great regular season team. I just don't think when push comes to shove, they're going to be able to win 12 games in this Western Conference playoffs.
Yeah, I'm with you.
I just don't see it. If you count out the San Antonio Spurs, you should be slapped in the face and never allowed to talk about basketball again.
Hmm.
The Grizzlies, like I said, I think the Grizzlies are a team that's going to beat a lot of teams up, and I think they're going to be a block for a Golden State or a team I'm going to talk about in a second. I think they'll be more of a block for that. I don't necessarily think the Warriors can win 3 straight 7-game series, same as the Rockets. I mean, the Grizzlies can win 3 7-game series, same as the Rockets. That's a great team, though. I love watching them. Just for Spinal Face, that's great basketball. That's just old school sort of that's kick your ass basketball.
Yeah,
I
it
love it.
warms my heart too. Yeah.
And then you have the Portland Trail Blazers, who I think that's a great matchup for them in the first round. I think they would probably sweep the Clippers, if not. I don't think that's a good series. I think the Blazers would run the floor with the Clippers. I just don't see that happening. Any sort of competitiveness in that series. And then you're into the. I don't know. You're looking at. Do you think is it asinine to say the Blazers couldn't beat any of their teams? Like, is it asinine to say the Blazers couldn't beat the Warriors or couldn't beat the Grizzlies? I don't think it is. I think they have a pretty good balance of everything you want. Wes Matthews being out is going to be
Tough.
a big hit. But I mean, you have the big and the little, and I like that team a lot.
I do too. They're my sleeper to make some quiet noise once we get there. So the way I boil it down is Warriors in Memphis, OKC and San Antonio. Those are the core 4, and Portland has the biggest chance of upsetting the core 4.
Yep.
In my opinion.
Interesting.
I think the Spurs will, just purely off of experience, will definitely get through the first round. But it depends on who they play. Like, I think, oh God, it's gonna be tough because I think it should be the Spurs and the OKC should be further up the list.
Yeah.
And it's crazy that we're gonna get the best basketball in the first couple weeks of the playoffs, but I don't know. I think yeah, I'm with you though. Dallas, no. The Clippers, no. Houston, no. And I don't know. I think it's gonna be interesting because it all depends on the matchup and how these teams are made up, right? So we know Memphis, they're just a bunch of bruisers. They'll just put in work every night and just wear the other teams down. I think who's not a good matchup for them, who's susceptible to that is OKC.
Yep.
I think that's going to be tough for them to handle with I mean, Ibaka's great, and I'm a big fan of Enes Kanter, and was a good move, I think. But I think the physicality will be a problem there. The Warriors. The Warriors are obviously the best team right now. They're interesting because when you think about the energy they have to expend, their best stuff comes from their shooting, and shooting can take you a long, long way. So
And it can shut you down pretty quickly.
right, and it can shut you down pretty quickly. Very true. But I mean, if they just keep up with their chemistry and the if somebody's clicking, like they've got that team is so interesting because somebody could heat check that night and just win you a game. It could be Steph, it could be Clay, it could be Draymond. You know, it could be a combination of like Iggy and Harrison Barnes. I mean, always, always, always the biggest question is Bogut. You almost have to pencil him in for getting a toe, stress hairline fracture or something by the time the playoffs start. But I don't know. It's so fucking tough. And then OKC, like I was saying, it's gonna be interesting to see what happens when Durant comes back too to that team, because that's gonna hurt Russ's, abilities out there a lot. Really, it's not even a tad. It's really a lot. So. I don't know. It's so up in the air. Gun to my head.
If you're Scotty Brooks and you have some balls, I think you bring. This is gonna be weird to say. I think you bring Durant off the bench for a week or two.
And see how that works.
Yeah. I think you put him right. I mean, I'm not saying Durant becomes a sixth man. I'm saying you bring him off the bench for a week or two to kind of let it transition back. Like it's Russ's team right now, and it should probably stay Russ's team. And I think that you bring Durant off the bench, and he still gets his minutes. Sort of Ginobili situation. Like you're still getting the starters' minutes. You just let kind of Russ know that you know what, you're having the season. It's your team this year.
Mm-hmm.
And sort of just set that tone type of thing with Kevin. Like this is Russ's team. We want you playing the minutes, and you're going to be on the floor at the end of the game. But let's bring you off. Same thing as like. Set it up similar to like a Ginobili just for those couple weeks. Like we'll bring up the game the first whistle, but let's kind of like if they're rolling now. This is if they keep this up and they keep winning some games. If they get into a real struggle, then you're going to need Durant probably playing 45 minutes a night as soon as he gets back. That's just something that's been creeping in my mind lately. Like, hey, if you're Scotty Brooks and you want to send a message that this is Russ's team and this is how we're going to win, I think you bring Durant off the bench for a week or two, let him get back up to game shape, let him get back up to speed, and just let Russ own that first unit.
True. And Scotty Brooks himself needs to kind of be careful because I think we both know, he's on the hot seat. And first of all, Scotty Brooks, never in any point in the game should there be an absence of either Russ or Kevin Durant on the floor.
There's no reason to.
There should be no reason why they're both sipping Gatorade sitting next to each other on the bench. That's not a thing. I don't know
Outside of a scenario where you're up by 20 with 35 seconds left.
Yeah, they both have energy for days. They both are in the primes of their career. They can play the minutes. Just have somebody in there, and then that's all you need for the most part. But that's neither here nor there. But that's an interesting point. I mean, that might be the kiss of death though for Scotty Brooks to propose the Kevin Durant. With the same amount of minutes, just not his name being announced in the beginning of the game with the rest of the starters. But
it's one of those moves that you think probably should if you think about it, you're like, okay, that just from purely let's build him back up to basketball strength type of thing, that's probably something that should happen. It's one of those you think in your head he should totally do that, but he will never ever ever in our lifetime do that. Kevin Durant will never ever come off the bench. That just won't happen.
That's what I used to think about for a millisecond, maybe longer than a millisecond, but for a little while about Paul and Jeff Green. When Paul was coming back from injury, I was like, just leave Jeff. Just let's see what Jeff can do. Maybe he can actually blossom. Obviously, it didn't really happen. But I remember, I think I called in to WEI one night a few years ago and suggested that to Paul Flannery, who was a special guest on, and Flannery was just like, that's not going to happen. It's never, no planet will that be going on. But and he's right. But I don't know. That's an interesting take.
I'm looking at I'm mesmerized by the seedings. I haven't looked at it in a couple days, and I don't think it was this last time I looked at it. I'm mesmerized because you're looking at that's the like we just talked about the two matchups. You get the 1-8 and the 2-7. In my opinion, are the four title contenders, and those two of them are going to be out in the first round.
Yeah,
And like how did Houston luck out to get Dallas in the first round? This just I just
yeah,
or Portland getting the Clippers. Like if it's a scenario where which I hope happens, where this 5-6 kind of swaps its way with the 7-8, and we get a Houston, San Antonio, Portland, Portland OKC type of matchup. I think that is personally I would like to see that because I think that leads to better second round games, which I think get a little more intense.
yeah.
But I mean, at some point, I want to see that those top two matchups. I want to see Golden State at OKC, and I want to see Memphis, San Antonio. I just don't want to see it in the first round.
I know, I know. Yeah, it doesn't. Yeah, it's not good for because then we don't get everything we want. We get like something we want in like immediately, but then we're like, oh, and then the playoffs are like, oh, we can only go down from here, which is not what we want until we get to like the conference finals. But it makes
I
for
also feel like Memphis and San Antonio play each other every year.
every year. Yeah, they always have to go through each other. I'm with you. Yeah, it's nuts. Who do you think? Oh God. I can't even like finish the sentence, but coming out of that, if you had to pick somebody to go up against the Cavs, I guess, which we decided on,
Yep.
who do you think comes out of that?
All right, so here's where you're gonna get two Andrews. You're gonna get the degenerate Andrew. He's gonna put a decent amount of money on the Spurs because I think they're gonna get good odds coming from where they are, and I think that well, let's play another scenario. Let's go Let's say it ends up being San Antonio Golden State in the Western Conference Finals. You're gonna pick the Warriors? I mean, they're a better team, but are you gonna pick them in a 7-game series versus just the Masters, just the champs of the 7-game series and the champs of the NBA? Like the gauntlet they've run. I can't see if they get to a scenario where it's them versus the Warriors in the conference finals. It would be great if the Warriors win. I don't see that happening. So I think that the degenerate Andrew loves the long shot odds of the Spurs, but the smart, savvy basketball Andrew just says that Warriors team is so damn deep and just so damn talented. I mean, they'll beat you every way. I think Steve Kerr was absolutely tremendous. That was I questioned that move. I thought Mark Jackson was great for that team, and I think that I will eat crow on that one because I think that Steve Kerr has been perfect. He's really let them blossom defensively, which I don't think they needed any help offensively, but I think he's really, really pushed them defensively, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
So yeah, the smart basketball savvy watches too much basketball. Andrew says Golden State. The degenerate love me some long shots, like big odds. Also watches too much basketball, likes the Spurs. So it's a heart versus head type of thing, but I do think ultimately it ends up being the Warriors. I think there are way more scenarios that play out that the Warriors have a nice little walk to the championship. Regardless if they get OKC in the first round, I just think they're going to be beat up, and I think it's going to be a tougher road for them, and I don't think that ultimately leads to a championship for them, but I do think it leads to an NBA Finals for them.
Okay. I'm gonna say that I think it's gonna be Golden State too. I'm looking at OKC though, and I'm like,
It's just like, oh, God.
yeah. It's like, God, OKC's sitting there. Like, they could, all of a sudden, like, Russ could continue his dominance, but KD could come back and do just as well, and they could complement each other. It's always tough to see, how they. And it's kind of a new squad they got, too, which is, that kind of, in a sense, hurts them in my mind. Like, they don't have, well, they got Ibaka, they got, but they've got, like, new Enes Kanter, they got new pieces in, like, DJ Augustin and Kyle Singler and Deion Waiters. So, Deion Waiters could have a game where he wins them, a game in the playoffs. He could just decide to go off and actually have it mean something.
I think more likely is that Deion Waiters, Delonte West's Kevin Durant, and all of a sudden we hear all these stories about that. Personally, I think that there's more of a chance that he just sinks the ship like he did with LeBron. I think Deion Waiters just trash. That was a terrible move. I think that's a job saving move, quote quote, where I think it's actually going to end up costing Presti his job because I think that was just a shit move.
Yeah, I wasn't into it either. I thought it was a mistake. I remember when they were projecting him, maybe he'd be good on the Celtics. I was like, do not
No.
pick up that phone if the Cavs come calling, because he's too much. Yeah, I'm gonna go with Golden State just because I think they're very well coached, from the head coach all the way through the associates. The associates are all like former head coaches too, Alvin Gentry and like all these crazy people. So I think it'll be the Warriors because I think they'll just have these like crazy nights where they win as a team, and then they can also win on these heat check nights where just one dude just takes over. And how are you gonna stop Steph one night? Or how are you gonna stop Clay? Or how are you gonna stop? They're built for that, and they'll be doing it all year long. So I think it'll be them, but I wouldn't bet on the West because that's money you're not getting back because that stuff is that's late. I can't even. I gotta like turn it over because it's like staring at me, like mean mugging me, and who knows? But so all right, so we're both kind of in agreement. It might be Cavs and the Warriors. If that happens, what do we think is the ultimate situation there?
Yeah. I get the Cavs. I just think if the Cavs are going to get to the finals, I don't think they're going to lose. I don't know. Yeah, I don't have a whole lot else to say. I just think if the Cavs get to the finals, I don't see them. If they get themselves through, I think Atlanta's going to be their toughest test. I honestly think Atlanta is just so damn good. They ran the pretty well gauntlet in the West. I mean, there's not a typical top East team that plays well versus the Indianas and the Hornets of the world, but they've kind of proven their worth out West, and I think that they're so damn good, and people don't want to. There's not a lot to talk about because they don't have highlights a lot. They're not one dude that takes over games. I just think that they're tough to talk about on a larger scale, so I think people just assume that they're not that good. Does that make sense? Like I think it's one of those situations where they don't. What do you talk about with the Hawks? You kind of get sick of talking about, the Hawks win again. Like there's not a whole lot to go along with it. There's no drama. Their coach is boring. Their coach is like Popovich. He's just boring. He just does his job. There's no LeBron. There's no anything like that. They just go out there and win and win and win. And I mean, they got some buzz when they went undefeated in January or February, and they all got the Player of the Month. That they got some buzz there, but like otherwise, you don't hear from them. And I think that sets a lot of people up to think like, they're just probably not that good. They're just a typical Eastern Conference team. They can't do it. Nah, those dudes ball. Those dudes beat the big boys all the time. Yeah. And I think that's going to be Cleveland's toughest test. And like I said before, that being said, Cleveland's the only team I see that can beat Atlanta in the East. Yeah. I mean, Atlanta's the only team that can beat Cleveland in the East, but I think that there are a lot of teams that can beat Atlanta. So maybe Cleveland won't even have to get through Atlanta. Maybe the Cavs are going to kind of cakewalk their ways to the finals because they're not going to have a hard series until they get there. There isn't anyone else really going to give them a challenge until they get to that Eastern Conference Finals. And if they make their way to the finals, I just don't see Golden State, San Antonio. I really just don't see the Cavs losing no matter who they play in the finals.
That's true, and you kind of have to attribute the atrophy that goes on in the West. Like once you get to the finals, that whoever's coming out of the West is going to be exhausted.
Yeah,
and they're just going to have been beaten up the entire time. So, and it's not going to be the same in the East. But I'm going to contradict myself and say I think I'm more comfortable taking the Warriors.
Interesting.
Because of the coaching. Because of them being more balanced, I think, on the Warriors, and they've also been a unit for longer than the Cavaliers, which I think might kind of, mean something down the stretch. But I will also hedge my bet by saying if Atlanta makes it through, and it's Atlanta Golden State, I think it's Atlanta.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be wild. It's gonna be fun to watch. But if it's LeBron versus Steph, I think it's going to be the Dubs. But don't quote me because
I would love that. I'd love to be in San Francisco for another championship because then it's going to be me. Like then we can give up this dream that like good teams just win. No, it's Andrew Barry. Andrew Barry came here and the Giants won the championship. Andrew Barry came here and the Warriors won the championship. It's me, guys. We can officially give it up that I win championships.
That's pretty much it. And I didn't know that was a thing, and I'm going to beat that drum now for a long time because that's true. Because we went from you residing in Boston all your life and moving out west to San Francisco, and look what happens to the Giants. And if the Dubs win, then they better have you on their version of the duck boat, my friend.
Yep, Andrew Barry wins championships. If the Warriors win, you guys can come back here and just let you know that I win championships. You need me. you need me in your city. So, Cubs fans, best offer. I'll move to Chicago. You give me what you need, but I'll get there because all I do is win, folks.
If you get that Lester money, then you wouldn't hate going there.
Dude, I'll settle for Lou Merlone money. You get me to Chicago, that's fine.
Maloney, yeah. All right, cool. Well, all right, we're on record by saying that we think, with big asterisks around it, that it'll be Cleveland Golden State. But it's good because you have Cleveland, I've got Golden State, so it'll be nice to see what happens. But yeah, so I guess we'll leave it at that. How'd that feel? Yeah, Northeastern, right?
We'll leave it up there for a minute. We're just gonna bask in this glory before they get trounced by their inevitable 2 seed.
Yeah.
Let's just pretend like we get some pride here. They'll be the only team in Boston in the tournament, so we got that going for us.
That's right. Huskies
Woo!
Huskies repping the bean in the big dance. It's gonna be something. So. All right, cool. Well, for Andrew Barry, I'm Pat Julian. This has been Run the Julz podcast production, the first episode of Hoop and Harm. Hoop being obviously the talk, harm being the fact that you had to listen to it the entire time.
Oh my God.
So we'll do it again. We'll come back real soon. The NBA always has something great to talk about. So, and we don't stop talking about it. So this has been Run the Julz, Hoop and Harm. Thanks for watching, everybody.
Peace.